Gold. Always believe in your soul. You got the power to know you're indestructible. They're not indestructible. What? Not even waterproof. But they are gold. The Moto G5 Plus, the Honor 6X, both available for 250 odd quid, well, 225 quid, 259 quid. How do they stack up? I'm going to jump into both of these in a lot more detail now. But before I do, if you are not already subscribed to the channel and want to stay on top of my terrible singing and know more about phones, that is exactly how you do it. Hit that subscribe button. Right, on to these two. The Honor 6X announced at CES has a 5.5-inch display. It's a very good phone thanks to that camera. For £225, it is arguably the best camera that you can pick up. The Moto G5 Plus, announced at MWC 2017, has a gesture-centric fingerprint scanner, a much more stock version of Android, a Snapdragon 625 under the hood as well. It is a 3000 milliamp battery-laden beast for the price. But side by side, I'd say I kind of prefer the design of the Honor 6X just because it feels a little bit thinner, and I am a big screen fan. 5.5 inches of display makes it just a little bit more imposing than the 5.2-inch display on the Moto G5 Plus, but the G5 Plus's gold is certainly a lot more bling bling than that of the Honor 6X. Also, it does look like it has a more premium fit and finish. While I prefer the in-hand feel of the Honor 6X because it's just more curvaceous, it doesn't look as premium as the Moto G5 Plus. Now, neither devices have removable back covers. They both have fingerprint scanners. A fingerprint scanner on the Honor 6X is around the back, and it supports gestures, but different kinds of gestures to the G5 Plus. I can pull down my notifications tray and double tap the notifications or the fingerprint scanner to clear the notifications tray. And that is versus a long press to close, single tap to unlock, and then swipe left and right for gestures to bring up your navigation controls. Check out the video that I've done exclusively on that feature to find out more. As far as other key highlights go, both have USBs at the bottom, but they are not USB-Cs, they are micro USBs. They also have headphone jacks too, mono speakers. A nice touch on the Moto G5 Plus is it is a front-firing mono speaker as opposed to a bottom-firing mono speaker on the Honor 6X. That said, the Honor 6X has got a higher resolution and a better selfie camera. And the camera around the back is a wider angle as well. I'll come on to the cameras shortly, but now we've talked about the design. Let's talk about those screens, and it's 5.5 inches versus 5.2, but the quality of the display on the Moto G5 Plus is simply better. Bringing it closer into frame, you should see it's punchy, it's poppy, it's vibrant. It looks really, really great, and that is one thing: punchy, poppy, vibrant. Okay, there are three things that the Honor 6X screen is not. It's a little bit more washed out generally, and so while I might prefer the additional screen size, I generally prefer the screen experience on the Moto G5 Plus. Also, the G5 Plus, as you can see, isn't attracting fingerprints like crazy. Even when I turn the screen on, it has got some fingerprints, but it's not a mad fingerprint lover. And that's because of something called an oleophobic coating, which is missing on the Honor 6X. The Honor 6X screen, once you remove the preloaded screen protector, is just not as high quality. Though, on the Plus, it does have a preloaded screen protector. So if you have no desire to remove that whatsoever, you will be protected in that respect. As for what is inside, it is Android 7 versus Android 6. So you get a newer version of Android on the Moto G5 Plus. It is also a stock version of Android, or a relatively stock version of Android. You do have some cool enhancements, such as I can twist to fire up the camera. I can also do a karate chop to fire up my flashlight. And these are Moto enhancements that we've had for a while now, but they've been brought to the lower end of devices. You've also got new features on this phone, like the fingerprint scanner gestures I mentioned earlier, all available within the Moto applications under Actions. So that's a cool feature to have. Otherwise though, it's a pretty stock version of Android. Google Now to the left, and you've got pull down two-tier notification tray. As for Emotion UI, it's not the newest version of Emotion UI, so it isn't the best version of Emotion UI, but it kills the applications tray. Nice and customizable in a lot of respects, has better home screen organization options than that of the stock Android devices such as the Moto G. But still, stock Android fans will definitely prefer the experience on the Moto G5 Plus. In fact, it runs Android 6 as well, just isn't as promising in terms of app updates, etc. But in the same breath, we do know that Honor is rolling out the Android 7 update in beta, and hopefully that should be landing as a final release very, very soon. So what other power do you have under the hood of these things? It's a Kirin 655 versus a Snapdragon 625, and it's 3 GB of RAM across both of these devices. If I jump into Antutu, you can see 55,759 versus around 62,000. In real world use, gaming and all that will be pretty even Stevens across both. Some people might just prefer the additional screen size. I personally really like the fact that games will just probably look a lot better on the Moto G5 Plus's better quality display. 32 GB of storage across both devices as well. It'll be sweet as far as getting plenty of games on here, and both devices also have SD card support as well. Now, when it comes to those cameras, the Honor 6X has a wider angle to its cameras, so I can open up a picture and you can see exactly what I'm talking about in these two pictures. This was taken from exactly the same position. You've got an additional kind of probably half meter either side when held at this kind of angle, so it's really clear. As far as macro shots go, they both look very good. We shouldn't be comparing on the same screen, but it's just to give you an idea. I'd say that in this instance specifically, the Honor 6X was a little bit sharper. The Honor 6X also overexposes a little bit more. It brightens up the picture a fair bit more. Both devices have manual controls. This was a low light shot, and both of these devices kind of nailed it. So I'd say across both devices, you're going to get a very good quality camera that just takes pictures that you can happily print off. But what you will also get is 4K video recording on the Moto G5 Plus, whereas you won't get 4K video recording on the Honor 6X. What is really nice about the Honor 6X though is that selfie camera. It is significantly sharper as well. As far as batteries goes, both will last a full day. It's 3,000 milliamps on the G5 Plus versus 3,350, I think, or thereabouts. So the 300 extra milliamps on the Honor 6X will just keep you going that bit more. The Kirin 655 processor is plenty efficient, so I really did find for a mid-ranger, this has always, since it came out, been one of the best. But now in some areas, it is beaten by the Moto G5 Plus. Would have liked USB Type-Cs across both, but with NFC, fingerprint support, and all that good stuff still loaded on these things, I'm not going to be complaining, and I doubt you will be too. If you have any specific questions about either of these devices, fire them in the comments section below and I will do my best to answer. And like I said, subscribe to the channel for more of my terrible singing and fast talking. Thanks for watching BTech.